Howdy! I was going to do a light-hearted video today. I promised, because yesterday's was a little heavy about losing friends, right? But then I ended up having a chat about taking responsibility today with a guy who I've interviewed who's going to be showing up in the responsibility month, which I can't remember which month that is, but it's a couple of months away, so don't worry. It's going to come up again. And we were talking a lot about taking responsibility, and particularly taking responsibility pre and post Me Too movement. So, going to go back into intense, serious mode, intense face. And yeah, it was a really, really good discussion. You see, responsibility for me has been a really like a huge game changer, and I'm still finding ways of taking responsibility for different areas within my life. But one area that I took responsibility for was my perspective of other people, my judgment of other people. You see, I harbor regret and shame around this, and I know you're not supposed to harbor regret and shame, and currently I do, around my previous belief systems, my, quite frankly, homophobic, sexist, and, well, let's say that I used to be the type of guy that would say all lives matter. I hold a lot of shame over that. And ultimately, I never actually believed any of it, even as I was saying it way back then. I just felt like I was in a victimhood mindset because, I was being told that I had privilege, I had status, that things came easy for me, but I was bloody unhappy. I was seriously unhappy. So the idea of someone telling me that I had privilege and everything was easy for me, and yet I was so miserable, like, it did not make sense. And because I was so miserable then, I was also stuck in this kind of victimhood mindset where I wasn't actually taking responsibility for any of my pain, my challenge, my difficulties. I was abdicating responsibility and blaming others. I was blaming other people. And ultimately, at that time, I was feeling a lot of emotion. I was feeling depression on a regular basis. I was feeling hurt, pain, loneliness, just a multitude of emotions. But because I've been conditioned to be a man, emotions weren't easily accessible to me. Well, one emotion was, right? So all of these emotions would just funnel into the one emotion that we men are 100% allowed to experience all of the time, and that is anger, rage. So that was what would happen, and then years would years of this would end up leading to a really pivotal moment. These days, I'm very grateful that I've been able to take responsibility for my belief systems, and then, participate in the BLM marches and become a supporter for equality, equity, and rights for every person, every single person, equal rights across the board. It's as simple as that. And those are obviously my belief systems, and don't really feel the need to defend those. But going back to this idea of responsibility, I really resisted responsibility because I assumed that if I was going to take responsibility for this, for my past, if I was going to take responsibility for these emotions, these feelings, then I would have to take responsibility for that I was this type of person, that I was kind of homophobic, sexist, all these type of things, which are inherently bad things. So I would have to take responsibility and accept that I was a bad person. And ultimately, nobody wants to do that. We all like to think that we are good human beings, that we are good people. So admitting that I was all of these different things, all of these different labels, was it like it was admitting that I was a bad human. until I took responsibility. And then I realized that that's absolute nonsense. It's complete garbage. Because when you take responsibility, you don't take blame for the past. And that's the key thing. I think that's the thing that people often miss, is we assume if we take responsibility, we're taking blame for the things of the past. And you can't change the things of the past. So blame and responsibility are two very, very, very different things. And we've got this idea in our head that if we apologize for something that we've done wrong, that we're also taking the blame for that thing. When you're not taking blame for that thing, what you are doing is you're taking responsibility for healing the wound that was caused by that thing and making sure that that doesn't happen in the future. And, you know, there's a part in the 12-step program for addiction whereby the individual goes through a process of contacting, writing letters to people that they've wronged and that have wronged them, forgiveness and apologizing. And they do that because it frees up so much of the trauma that is causing the addiction in the first place. It's not all of the addiction, but not all of the trauma, but a significant portion. The stuff we harbor inside, the stuff we wear like a backpack filled with rocks. And you get to put that bag down. That's what happens when you apologize. That's what happens when you take responsibility for your actions. So, and there's huge freedom. Like, honestly, like, it's quite simple. Like, before I was experienced a lot of anger, a lot of pain. Afterwards, I felt free, and now I'm free to connect and relate to anybody, regardless of their circumstance, their race, color, ethnicity. I feel a much greater freedom to be able to connect with people. And that's huge. Like, that is genuinely huge. It's one of the biggest transformations that I've experienced. It really, really, really is. So I hope that hearing this, you might, in some way, shape, or form, think about some of those kind of backpacks, those heavy backpacks that you might be wearing based on past deeds or belief systems, and allow yourself to have that transformation, allow yourself to have that change. There's freedom on the other side of it. Anyway, I'm going to be talking more about taking responsibility, not just from that perspective, but from a whole perspective of like every kind of section within the man cave, and taking responsibility for your lot in life. Later. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.